Welcome to the Mental Hub. My name is Pamela. I am your psychologist for the day again. In this episode, we want to discuss a very interesting matter, money and mental health. Does it matter? Does it affect our mental health? As it is, money is a resource. It is a means of trade. It is that it's the item or the currency that facilitates our ability to trade, to be able to buy what we buy, to render, to pay for services, to pay for facilities. Money is an important factor in our daily living. But would it matter when it comes to issues mental health? Remember, mental health is all about what we think, what we feel, and therefore how we behave and how it affects our daily living, how we are able to manage life, how we are able to think and make decisions on a daily basis as human beings. So would money really affect our mental health? Yeah, to an extent. Being a resource that really matters, it can affect our very life. Money is important. We look or we work so that we can be able to get money. We render services so that we can be able to get money, so that we can learn our daily activities, so that we can be able to pay for where we live or even build where we live, maintain where we live, pay for, buy food, buy clothing, pay for services like health, pay for services like education, pay for services like farming, and basically run our livelihood. So money is a very important factor in an individual's life, in a family's life, in a society, as well as a country, being a very important resource. So in looking for money, some people set goals of how much money they need for what, or you value the item. Like you tell yourself, I want to build this kind of house, or I want to live in this big or this level of housing. So it drives you to be able to get the resources or the money that will be able to facilitate you either to build your house or be able to rent that house and live in that neighborhood that you desire to, as an individual or as a family. So then it drives your daily goals of how do I get this money. So if you have overstepped or put your goal of the resource called money that you need too high, then it may make you worry a lot, get anxious. Where do I get this money? What do I do to be able to get this money? Or there are also competing interests, not only for the housing that you need. Maybe as you are looking for money to pay house rent, sickness strikes the family or even yourself. So you divert that resource. At times it makes people to worry a lot. It will make somebody to get anxious. It will make somebody to either feel insufficient or you are not able to meet your daily needs. Oh, besides even being able to live a luxurious life like what you want. So then it can influence the way you think and the way you feel. One would feel so, maybe have a low mood, feel sad that they are not able to get that resource called money enough to meet the needs that they have set for themselves. Or likely you could find yourself that the money that you are targeting to do a certain thing maybe has been diverted by a family member, let's say a spouse, to other things. It could make you irritable, get you so hungry, get you feel maybe even embarrassed that you are not able to meet this, ashamed. You get to feel a lot of pain when you are not able to achieve or get the money that you need to meet your daily needs. So this can actually deteriorate one's well-being, and more so the mental status of a person. Money, on the other hand, At times, there's people can get even a lot, to an extent that it makes people make decisions that will actually affect their mental health again. You find, let's me use the young people, a young person who doesn't have a lot of responsibilities and yet gets a lot of money maybe at the end of the month. And at times, because of lack of prioritizing, or they don't have a lot of competing needs, you find that the same money that would have facilitated them to live a better life, they make decisions that even drive them to abusing substances. Now they can be able to afford to drink, they can be able to afford to take an expensive drug, and these drugs, of course, eventually one will get the disease of addiction to one substance or another, which actually affects your mental health and could even render you to develop severe mental disorders, substance use disorders, because of the same resource called money that maybe you got in plenty. At times, by the way, there are people who get into substance use because they feel what they got is insufficient. I expected to raise this money to be able to do this thing, but now I got little. So what do I use it for? I go out and drink. After all, tomorrow will take care of itself. By and by, as you drink, even if you are starting to drink, you develop tolerance, or the body start craving for more. So you find you are getting into substance abuse deeper and deeper until it becomes the disease of addiction, which actually is a substance use disorder, which is a mental health disorder. So either insufficiency or sufficiency of the same can lead to mental disorders or can deteriorate mental disorders. Look at money in the family setup, the expectation of the family members. Maybe these young adolescents who was expecting to be bought for a certain item that the other young people in the same neighborhood have, and then dad or mom is not able to raise that amount of money. So the child becomes hungry, decides that you don't like me because of lack of skill to resolve conflict in the family level. The child revolts, rebels, resorts to drug abuse. That would also lead to a mental disorder, or can actually become moody, can become unpredictable in the way they think or behave, which actually fuels a mental disorder, or can trigger even a mental disorder. At a family level, resources for the family, when the family feels, or a member of the family feels neglected because they have set this level of family, but because of resources that are not available, this is not achievable. Look at currently the loss of livelihoods by families because of the COVID that entered the world recently in the last 2 or 3 years. COVID made people lose their livelihoods. And some people actually developed mental disorders because of loss of livelihoods occasioned by COVID. Their jobs were terminated. They could not work because of, the isolation that was needed, the keeping distance that was needed. People lost livelihoods. Some people became mentally unstable because of loss of livelihoods occasioned by COVID. So change in life and change in status that could be because of the resource called money can actually make people develop, or even develop and also worsen a mental disorder that exists. Look at money and mental disorders. Mental disorders are quite expensive to treat and manage. Paying for professional services is already costly because first, we don't have enough of these professionals in the community. Where they are, most of them are private, they are consultant, so you have to pay at consultancy level. So when one is not able to pay for a diagnosis of a mental disorder, then it worsens from a mild to actually moderate to a severe disorder, simply because they didn't have the money to pay for the consultant or the professional that will be able to tell them where they are mentally, or the drugs that have been diagnosed. Probably you are able to get professional diagnosis, but then the treatment requires maybe rehabilitation, and you're not able to pay for rehabilitation services, especially for substance use disorders that are mental disorders. So you find a family is not able to pay for treatment, for rehabilitation, and therefore that person's health continue deteriorating because they are not able to pay for treatment of mental disorders. One would likely you are treated, you are being rehabilitated, but this is a chronic condition that you'll keep on taking medicine for the rest of your life. Then likely your livelihood, of course, gets affected. You have now to channel resources to also treating mental disorders, competing with the needs of the children, maybe for education, competing with the needs of housing, competing with the needs of running business or even work. Therefore, you find it actually affects the mental status. Money can affect the mental status of people. At a workplace level, or even when you have to treat mental disorders, they are quite expensive. Not everyone can be able to manage to pay for treatment or mental disorders. That's why you find many people are not going for treatment. Many people are resorting to ways that are not good for managing mental disorders, where you even resort to traditional healing for a problem that is biological, that has a biological cause, that requires medicine actually to bring balance in either the chemicals in the brain or to treat physical damage on the brain that is underlying the mental disorder. You find also poverty that is as a result of one not having enough money. This poverty makes people not to eat nutritious food. You find the children are being malnourished, which can actually can lead to diseases that could even be mental health disorders. So money is very, very important as a resource, but money as well can be able to affect the mental health status of a person. The worry of where do I get the money? The fear of what if I lose this job? What if I lose the money that I have gotten? What you have a need, maybe you've gotten a loan so that you can facilitate a certain livelihood that or business that you want to do. Suddenly the business fails. Money again becomes a challenge, and the worry, the anxiety that follows that can actually trigger, even cause be the reason for a mental disorder. The conflict in families today, a number of them could have a base on money. The needs, one wants to do this, the other wants to do the other, but the little resources that are there are not sufficient, or the resources that are there are not sufficient. So you find conflicts that are being fueled at the family level because of the same money. So money as a base or can affect the mental well-being of an individual, even of a family. Again, when we look at the many ways people are taking risks even to raise the money, you find because you are not able to have a job, some people resort even to stealing, to drug trafficking, to robbing, just to get this resource called money. And when you look at the anxiety, the state of mind of this person, actually it is affected by the very resource called money. So money and mental health is a significant issue that we need to be able to address. And how then do we address this? By being able to set realistic goals, so that you tell yourself, this is the money I can be able to raise in a month. These are the priority, my needs of this month. Then you prioritize. So when you prioritize those needs, you know what do you do with what? What can we postpone? What is a short-term goal? What is a long-term goal? What is a need or an item that I need to drop out of my list? Because then I don't want to struggle and cause myself anxiety, worry, fear because of money that would actually destabilize my mental health. The loans that we take, at times they become, it becomes like a lifestyle. You find you are taking one loan to pay another, you are borrowing here to sort the other. So always there is a deficit, and people live in anxiety, people live in worry, people live running away from the debtors. And this life actually affects the mental status of an individual. Again, in terms of money, we need to be able to appreciate the fact that it's an important factor in life, but money doesn't have to manage our life. We have to manage the money that we have. We have to manage the resource that we have. It doesn't have to cause intrapersonal conflict, of conflict within myself, because of the bigger needs that I have, or the bigger wants that I want to meet with the little resource that I am able to make. So inside myself, I'm fighting battles because of money. Within the family, we are fighting battles because of money. Within the workplace, we are fighting battles because of money, and always causing ourselves to be worried, to be anxious, to withdraw from people because you feel like, I don't fit in that kind of status. They don't like me because I'm not able to buy the kind of car that they are driving. I'm not able to live in the neighborhood that my friends are living in. You can make a choice of the kind of people you want to relate with, so that you don't feel abandoned to yourself or even to your family because of the big goals that you have set for yourself in terms of need for money, so that you can be able to fit in that group of young people, in that group of professionals, in that group at the workplace, or in the chama, the groups that we form, so that you find that in this group of friends, you are originally saying we can be able to raise 5,000 each every month so that we can achieve this cause. But suddenly you find either your resources have gone down. You need to be able to tell the other members of the group that for the time being, I will step out of the group because I am struggling a lot to raise this money. It is causing me a lot of anxiety. It's causing me conflicts with myself. It is causing me conflict with my family. My priorities have to change. And you accept that change, so that then you can be able to manage this resource called money better, so that you can have a stable mental status, or you can have your mental health to be okay, so that then you can be able to live a better life for yourself, even for a family. So money matters, or resource matters, are very, very important to focus in as a person, to focus in as a family, to focus in even as a community. Where are we channeling our resources? Mental disorders are on the increase. Are we mobilizing resources or allocating monies at the community level, at the world level, at the workplace level to deal with the mental health issues being another need, a health need that needs to be budgeted for? So money is significant, because by the same money, we are able to buy drugs. By the same money, we are able to buy, to build the infrastructure, the hospitals that are needed, the rehabilitation centers that are needed. By the same money, we are able to train professionals that can be able to, that are available to create awareness at the community level, to diagnose, to treat and manage mental health issues. So money and the mental illnesses or mental health is a factor that we need to be able to focus on, so that then as an issue, it can be dealt with, and it cuts across not only the people who are earning money, but even the children or the people that we support with this money. So that we are telling ourselves there is this kind of need in the family. What can I be able to do? What can I not do? How do I plan myself so that then my mental health is okay? So I want to submit that money is a resource. Money is important to look at in the family level, even for mental health.